In this video, we're going to talk about how to construct weighted tree diagrams. And the example we're going to use is when a coin is tossed twice. Let's think about that. When we toss a coin, it can either result in two things. It can be a head or it can be a tail. If we tossed it once and it landed as a head, and we tossed it again, it will land as a head or a tail. If it landed on a tail first and we tossed it again, it could land on a head or it could land on a tail. So what we can see here is that the H and the T represent the outcomes or the sample space, and the lines represent a toss of the coin. And obviously if these sections here represent each toss of the coin. The next part when we're doing a tree diagram is to list the outcomes or the sample space. In this case, it is a head. The second one, it's a head then a tail. Third one's a tail then a head. And the last one is a tail then a tail. And all we've done there is we've followed the diagram to get to where we are. The next part of this is to display these as a weighted tree diagram. The weight refers to the fraction percentage, the fraction probability of each result happening. Obviously, when we toss a coin, it is a 1 out of 2 chance of happening. And that is going to be the same all over. When we display this or each of these fractions, and we're trying to work out what the chance of a head-head happening or a head-tail happening, what we do is we go a half times a half. All right, so we're following the chance of each of these outcomes happening, and we're going to end up getting a probability of a quarter for each of these events, because a half times a half is, of course, a quarter. So what we can say here is that when a coin is tossed twice, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 possibilities. Obviously, it's displayed here. There's 4 possibilities that can happen, and each have a 1 out of 4 chance of happening. The last part of this is that obviously 2 of these are the same, a head and a tail, so 1 head and 1 tail. If we're asked a question like, what's the probability of tossing 2 coins and getting 1 head and 1 tail, then we'd have to plus those 2 probabilities together. And that, of course, equals 2 over 4, which equals a half. So the probability of getting 1 tail and 1 head in this situation is a half.